Oh, my YouTube video's up. Let's see how I did.
Space. Final frontier.
Remember.
Or at least it is in real life. In Minecraft, you've probably written space a bunch of times. Galactic craft and advanced rocketry exists, and I'm pretty sure everyone...
So I think I messed up, and I don't really know where I am. I don't know where the crew is. I think they're dead, but I'll have to survive here in my surroundings, my wit, skills, and the local convenience store. Hello? Well, howdy there! Oh, this is so nice. Oh, we don't get that many visitors. Anyway, welcome. How are you doing? This is my... wait, for what? Yeah, this will do. That's uneven, isn't it? Oh my god, it's uneven. No, doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. It bothers me. I'm fixing. There we go.
Do, re, mi. Wait, hold on, let's turn. What? Hello!
Oh, sorry. Hello everybody, welcome to the WARPDRIVE mod. As you can see, I've landed myself in a terrible situation, and now I need to build myself a new ship to get out. Now, before I can get to telling you about the mod, I have a confession to make. I don't remember anything about this mod. Cryosleep really does do a number on your brain. However, I can circumvent this by using the WARPDRIVE manual and the WARPDRIVE wiki, both incredibly helpful sources on how to basically use this mod effectively. Unfortunately, they are both incomplete, so I basically have to puzzle my way through the mod by basically checking both sources and sort of linking the information together as if I'm some kind of archaeologist or something. But don't worry, you won't have to do this, as hopefully when I release this video after my hibernation, you will be able to simply watch through the different sections of what you want to know and just... I forgot what to say. Cryo really does do a number on your brain. Alright, let's begin. It's gonna be a long day. Or night. Or cycle. Actually, I don't know how time works. A ship core is the heart of every spacecraft, as it grants a vessel the ability to move throughout space-time. It requires some kind of power source to run, as well as an advanced computer from the Computercraft mod to control it. For power, I'm using a creative capacitor I found for sale in the shop, as it has infinite energy, but you might have to create some kind of power source on the ship itself. Any method of power generation will do, so long as it's not considered by the WARPDRIVE mod as an anchor block. If those are present in your ship, the vessel will be unable to move. Thankfully though, these anchors are very limited to unbreakable blocks, some creative-only blocks, most will work though, and some very rare unsupported blocks from different mods. Those rare blocks shouldn't pop up too often though, since this mod is extremely cross-compatible with other mods, to the point where stuff like little tiles can be used in spaceships. Anyways, to create a ship, simply click on the computer and it will boot up a custom starship program. Write down whatever name for the ship you want, then press enter to confirm it. Once your ship boots up, you will have to define how big your ship is. Press 1 to access the control menu, then I to access the dimensions menu. Once In here, you can input numbers for each direction, corresponding to how many blocks in that direction you want to include as part of the ship, with the ship core itself being the center. So 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. Now, once you are done, open the movement menu by pressing the M key, and follow the instructions on screen to determine how far you want to jump. 25 up seems good to me. Once you are done, press Y to confirm. If you don't want to go through the process of pressing the movement key every single time, you could press J to accept what you currently already have done. And now you just wait. Oh god! In case you're an idiot and mess up the dimensions of your ship, there is no need to worry. You can always re-input the dimensions of your ship at any time to fix any leftovers that you might have left behind after a jump. To make sure that you won't mess up again, I suggest shift-clicking your ship core with an empty hand to access its bounding box. This allows you to see what your ship core considers to be a part of your ship, and thus allows you to make more accurate edits to your ship's dimensions in order to accommodate for any parts left outside of this box. In my case, I need to extend the sides of my ship to access the glass ring around it, so I'll go into my dimensions menu and fix those values. So I press I, front needs to be 2, right needs to be 2, up can be 1, back needs to be 2, and left needs to be 2. Once you are done with that, and your ship's bounding box actually encompasses your whole ship, shift-click the core with an empty hand again to disable the bounding box. Then, go into the computer console and press J to jump. So let me do that right now. Now once that is done, we can kick back, relax, and watch the real magic happen. It takes a while though, so we'll have to wait. Here we go. Lifts are extremely simple. Given energy and a redstone input, they will shoot a beam below them. If entities are on the lift while redstone power is being detected by the lift, they will be teleported to the ground below. If entities are caught by the beam while it is not powered by redstone, like right now, they'll be teleported on top of the lift. This is useful for when you need to get to the ground safely, to your ship safely, or when you just feel like role-playing as a gray alien and want to suck up some cows. Air is precious. If you do not have air when you go to space, you will not be able to breathe. Air can be generated by an air generator, and it will activate once it is in space with an energy source. It comes in 3 tiers: basic, advanced, and superior, each providing a wider coverage of oxygen. Air naturally flows out into the great beyond though, so if there are any leaks into the ship, air will rush out of that hole and drain your power. If your power goes out, your air is gone, so it is important to prevent that from occurring. Thankfully, air is blocked out by most blocks in the game, including full blocks, stairs, slabs, doors, trapdoors, fences, and etc. If you want to be able to support entities inside and outside your ship without having a massive air leak whenever you open a door, you can use some air shields. These can connect in any orientation and come in every vanilla dye color. I've chosen blue. They allow entities to pass, but not air, meaning that you can have a safe doorway in and out of your spaceship. However, if you actually want to go out into space, you need oxygen tanks and a spacesuit. Oxygen tanks can be filled up by clicking on generators, and will automatically be used in space when in a player's inventory. Spacesuits have an air storage stored within them and come in 3 tiers. Emergency, which is very cheap but provides oxygen. Re-entry, which has both oxygen and an immunity to both burn and fall damage, useful for when a player is falling into the atmosphere of another planet. And warp, which has all of the features of the previous 2 tiers, plus more armor and even more air storage for longer journeys. Subspace capacitors are extremely powerful energy batteries that can hold massive amounts of energy for use in the power-hungry applications of a spaceship. Simply charge one up and it will hold the powers in it for future use. The power source is accepted includes Forge Energy, EU, RF, and more, so most tech mods will do the trick when it comes to charging it. You can use a tuning tool to click on the different sides of the capacitor and change wherever that side is receiving or outputting energy. You can click on the block itself to see how much power is currently stored inside of it, and they are very useful when you need to charge on planets and want to conserve energy on long voyages. Now, I don't really need these since the shop was already selling some creative capacitors and that kind of fills their role, but for those in a pickle without them, they can be extremely useful indeed. Here are some sirens for emergencies and lamps to fight off the darkness. Sirens can be only triggered with redstone but are extremely loud. They come in the same 3 tiers as most other blocks in the mod: Basic, Advanced, and Superior. These are superior, with each tier providing a larger area in which their sounds can be heard. You might recognize these sounds from the incident, and I don't want to remember that right now. So, let's shut these out and move on to the lamps. Simply right-click and they will produce light. No need for power either. They come in 3 forms and are great for modern or sci-fi builds in general, and not just for spaceships. If you want to detect ships from thousands of blocks away, then you can use a radar. A radar requires some energy and a computer, and once the computer is clicked, you can use 2 commands to search the surrounding area. The first command, ping, followed by a range, let's say 25, will do 1 scan around itself. Any ships found within that scan will be reported to the council. Now, it isn't working for me right now, probably either due to a bug on my end or the fact that I am not in space, but it usually will report the ship core in front of it. The second command, scan, followed by another range, let's say 50 this time, will continuously scan the area in a GUI. Any ships will show up as red points on the radar with their names highlighted. Right now, if it was working, the radar would detect the ship core in front of it and highlight a red dot named C. That is the name of the ship. The reason why I would see that and not the other ship core next to it is because that core is surrounded by warp field isolation blocks. These white and black blocks will give ship cores a chance of being undetected by radar, with 16 of them within 3 blocks of one, making the ship core fully invisible 100% of the time. If there are not 16, it is not guaranteed. Thus, if the radar was working on my end, and if we were in space as actual ships, I would be able to detect and shoot down the ship core without the isolation blocks, while the one with them would be missed, as I wouldn't be able to sense it with my radar. Now, when you are traveling across the reaches of space, it is inevitable that you will find some dangerous adversaries. Thankfully, this mod has a solution in the form of lasers. To make a laser, you will need a laser block. I will be using a laser camera since it allows for manual aiming, some laser mediums, the more the better, a source of power for those laser mediums, a monitor for the laser camera. If you are not using a laser camera, you do not need this, and finally, 2 turning drivers, one for beam frequency and another for video frequency. First, you want to place your laser block, then place laser mediums behind it. Ideally, you want your laser mediums to go in a row behind the laser, so that when you fire the laser, it won't hit itself in the backside. You can have as many laser mediums as you want, and there are 3 types: Basic, Advanced, and Superior. For simplicity's sake, the more laser mediums of a higher tier you have, the stronger the laser itself becomes. I'll be using 4 superior laser mediums for my laser. Power each laser medium with a power source, the laser block itself does not need power, and place your monitor, if you're using a laser camera, anywhere you desire. The monitor does not need power either, I'm just doing this for looks. When that is complete, grab a beam frequency tuning driver, it should be the one with a purple top, and shift-click in the air to retrieve a randomly generated beam frequency number. Now click on the laser block with it in your hand, and the block will inherit that value. If you are using a laser camera like I am, repeat this process with the video frequency driver. But make sure to also click on the monitor as well. So shift-click in air, click on this, and click on monitor. Once that is complete, your laser setup should be done. Now, before we test drive our new lasers, I'll have to explain what these channels are. Simply put, channels are basically IDs for certain blocks that allow them to wirelessly communicate with each other if they share the same number. There are 3 kinds: video, beam, and control. Video channels are exclusively used by camera and monitor blocks in security systems, and they have a range of 0 to 999,999,999. Beam channels are used by lasers, transporter rooms, and force fields, and have a range of 1 to 650,000, with an exception of 1,420, since that is a special frequency. Control channels are used by large multi-block structures like particle accelerators and have a range of 0 to 999,999,999, similar to video channels. There are 3 ways to set up channels: the driver way, shown here, the tuning fork way, the highly advanced automatable computer way that I won't explain too much in the video since the wiki does a great job at explaining it anyways. Technically, the easiest method is to use tuning forks. However, they are not a great solution due to the fact that they only have 16 possible values for frequencies. This is bad because blocks that share frequencies can control or bypass each other. For example, lasers can penetrate force fields with the same beam frequency as them, monitors can access any camera if it has the same video channel, hadron colliders are regulated by a specific control number, and etc. You can imagine how horrible this would be if an enemy player managed to find out what frequencies your ship had, so the random nature of the driver goes a long way in protecting your vessel. Anyways, let's give our new lasers a go. The laser camera allows me to simply click on the monitor with an empty hand to access the viewpoint of the laser itself. Follow the instructions on the top of the screen and move the mouse around to aim, then fire the beam with the space key once you have locked in onto a target. Now, this laser doesn't seem very impressive right now, due to the fact that it is a very low power, basic design. But keep in mind that ships are usually in space. If any hole punctures a ship's hull, it will release all of the oxygen within the vessel, triggering a catastrophic breach. But if you really want some bombastic power in your shots, you will need a bigger laser and more mediums. Now, I've made some slight modifications to the laser, and it should be marginally better. Let me go over there and boot it up for a minute. It's not turned on right now. It's very experimental. Here we go. Let me go check it out. It's a very interesting piece of work I've sort of crafted together. These are a lot more laser beams too. Oh, at least like 12 here lasers. But, you know, that's not the big drawing. Anyway, let's aim. Okay, yeah. So, let us aim, zoom, click. And you know, that's really all it does. You know, it's not too much better than the original. It's honestly pretty underwhelming, you know, unless you've been an entity. So, you might be wondering, how do I protect myself against the might of a gigantic laser? Well, there are 2 main ways of doing it. The first being a hull block. Hulls are pretty simple. They come in block, stair, slab, omni-slab, a slab that can connect to itself in any orientation, and forbidden vertical slab forms. They come in many variations: colored, transparent, white, opaque, tiled, simple, and cut, to name a few. Protection-wise, they have 3 tiers. Basic hulls, which are just a stone metal alloy that have an above average blast resistance. Advanced hulls, which are as tough as obsidian and degrade the basic hulls when hit, giving them a second wind. And superior hulls, which have an 80% chance to absorb all damage every time it is hit, and degrades to an advanced hull once it finally takes damage, effectively making this tier the best at protecting one's vessel. Basic hulls can be upgraded to advanced ones with obsidian, and likewise advanced hulls can be upgraded to superior tier given diamonds, at least if this is the only tech mod in your montage, as it changes quite a bit depending on your installed mods. Check the wiki on GitHub for more information. Aside from hulls, Iridium, at least from this mod, has the highest blast resistance out of any block, including the hulls. However, it melts when shot by a laser. So the best way to use it is to layer it behind a layer of hull blocks. If you do not like how the hull blocks look on their own due to their overly high resolution textures, you can put a layer of other blocks on top of them to achieve both max protection and a stylish look. The second way to protect the ship is through a force field. Force field projectors, as shown above the gold plates, can project an energy barrier once given a shape, that's the gold plates, a beam frequency, and power. Once energy is given, a frequency is selected, and you click on a projector with a shape in hand. A massive force field in the shape that you provided will start to appear and protect your vessel. You can shift click to remove this at any time, and use different shapes to suit different spaceship sizes. You can also upgrade your force fields by using force field relays, seen below the projector. Simply pair up the relay with the same beam frequency as the projector, have an upgrade in hand, and click the relay. Now, when the force field is powered, the upgrade will apply. In this case, the upgrade will make the force field thicker, as you can see here. There are upgrades to make the force field break blocks, camouflage, merge force fields together, rotate, project faster, place blocks, and more. You can also add multiple upgrades to a force field system by providing multiple relays with different upgrades on the same frequency. Cameras and monitors are simple and don't require power. Simply place them down, connect each one with the same video channel, then click on the monitor to access the camera's viewpoint. Follow the instructions on screen to zoom and look around, and once you're done, right-click to teleport back to the monitor. Alright, now that concludes my guide of everything, well at least everything I could remember, in the WARPDRIVE mod. I did miss quite a few things from the mod, as it turns out, but thankfully none of it is necessary for a basic ship, and a lot of the information for them is simply available in the in-game guide, the wiki on GitHub, and YouTube itself in the form of other videos by smarter people. I highly suggest you do go watch some of them, as they are extremely helpful. I'll post some links in the description. Now, let me go over everything that I think I missed, and I'll try my best to explain what little of it I know before I finally construct my ticket out of the swamp hell. Transporters are something big I missed. They're basically lifts that are significantly more power hungry and complicated to set up, but can transport entities to any location, including to other players and transporters. You can also use transporter beacons in an emergency to teleport back to a transporter. They're basically the warp rooms from Star Trek, and I desperately tried to set one up for demonstration, but alas, I wasn't able to figure out how to get the machine's warp location up and running. I think that was what it's called, so I skipped it, unfortunately. You can still see the mini platform I made to teleport to behind me. It's now being used for storage for the ship I'm about to make. Sucks that I wasn't able to use it, but honestly, the lift is fine enough for most situations. Anyways, another thing that it didn't include was the cloaking device, which did work, but immediately sent everything around it to the shadow realm. Since it is extremely difficult to remove blocks that don't exist, I had a terrible time trying to fix the hole in reality that I created. Did eventually figure it out though. The next block I didn't cover was the chunk loader, which is entirely self-explanatory. It loads chunks. Something of which wasn't very self-explanatory though was the entire particle collider system, of which I understand none of it, including what it's actually supposed to do. I think it turns blocks into particles and mashes them together to create like crafting materials, but I'm not very sure. Very complicated. I'm not going to get into that. Go watch a different video. I'll post one in the description. On the same note, I don't understand the the whatever reactor either, for the same reason. It starts with an E, as well, honestly, I don't even know how to spell out the word in the first place. I mean, my god, I don't even know how to spell out the word, much less use it. I also didn't really go into crafting itself too much, since it's very easy to see crafting requirements with JEI. Just click on an item in the JEI menu, and it'll show you the crafting recipe. Anyways, speaking of crafting, resetting my brain now, I didn't go over the laser tree farm or the laser miner, which are both used to obtain some crafting materials, rubber and iridium respectively, for certain blocks. I didn't go over them since I wasn't able to get them working, but the tree farm shoots a laser up to harvest trees, and the miner shoots a laser downwards to collect blocks and ores from space asteroids, of which I wasn't able to demonstrate since, I'm currently stuck on the ground, not in space. Other than that, the biometric spammer doesn't really seem to do anything aside from posting a message in chat when clicked, and the speaker and wireless assistant seem cool from their descriptions. The speaker posts messages in chat, and the assistant reads chat messages like commands, so you could possibly set up like a ship AI. But unfortunately, they both lack any obvious functionality, and any documentation for the usage in both the in-game guide and the wiki are just absent. So, yeah, that's not here. And finally, I didn't go too in-depth in the computer side of things other than just using custom block programs, but the mod is apparently compatible enough to the point where you can automate all of your ship's features with scripts. It's amazing. However, I don't really understand Luau enough to do any of that, so you'll have to check out some like computer geniuses on YouTube who actually know how Luau works and whatnot. Now, even with my cloudy memory, and you know, the cloudy surrounding, don't mind that pun, and my subpar ability to understand stuff like atomic physics and explanations for all my missed features, a guide that isn't really able to at least try to help people with a good chunk of its subject matter isn't a very good resource at all. Thus, I'll try my best to post links for everything I missed in the description. There are lots of smart people in this community who can help out with a lot of the issues people might have with the mod, even if some sources might be outdated. Anyways, I've spent enough time on this video. You can tell by the way I'm stuttering and all that. My brain is really getting tired of this place, but now that's in the past, and I can finally start constructing my escape plan. Alright, so it's been a while, and I think I'm finally done. I worked really hard on this, so here it is. Okay, so the reason there isn't any metal on this ship is because I kind of wasted all of the metal on the giant death blade. Oh yeah, time to get out. 3, 2, 1.